Hello there my beautiful bookish souls, and welcome to another video in my maybe you should actually do some reading series, which is all very behind, and I thought that I would have uploaded my bookmarks video on like the first week of May, and this was going to be on the second week of May, and now it's like already nearly the last week of May, and I've just been uploading other videos instead because I'm just a mess at this at the moment, and I apologize for that, but hooray! Today, as you'll already be able to tell because of all kinds of different things, I thought that I would share with you my reading essentials. These are not necessarily actually reading essentials that I absolutely need when I'm doing my reading or sitting down to read a book, but they're definitely things that make reading a lot more cozy and enjoyable for me, and things that I like to have around me when I am reading. So the first reading essential that I like to have when I'm reading is, of course, a bookmark from my little box of bookmarks that I've already shown you guys, and I like to match my bookmarks to my books, and sometimes I'll even change bookmarks in the middle of a book if I think I've found one that I think matches the book better. For example, I'm currently reading Emma. I'm actually reading this as a buddy read with Lauren Mays, who is adorable and lovely and hilarious, and you should totally go and check her out. First bookmark that I was using with this book was this one because I really wanted to use it because it's new, that I only got it a couple of weeks ago, and then I was like, actually it doesn't really match the book at all and I don't like it. So I've ended up changing to this yellow one, which matches it much better. So here's my book and my bookmark that matches the book. My second reading essential, this is where we get to the less essential things that I usually like to have when I'm reading, is my slippers. So I have my adorable Kmart slippers with little pom-poms on them, and if I'm reading at home, in fact if I'm doing anything at home, I will always put my slippers on first because they're just really cozy. My third reading essential, which goes along with that, is either a blanket or my dressing gown, which I wore in the videos where I was sick. It's a little owl dressing gown that's super fluffy, and I'll either wear it or I'll just like drape it. I'm getting myself nice and cozy here. Fourth reading essential, of course, is a cup of tea. A cup of tea is always a necessity for me when reading, just because the ritual of actually preparing the tea is something that really helps me wind down to doing something relaxing. The making of the cup of tea, even if I don't end up drinking all of it and it ends up going cold, like this cup that I'm holding in my hand right now, is more of the essential than the actual cup of tea itself, because making the tea helps me kind of go, okay, it's me time now. I don't know what number we're up to anymore, but the final reading essentials for me, of course, are the things inside my little book buddy bag that I showed you guys in my annotating my books video. So in this, I have a lot, like an awful lot of these rainbow tags. Yes, these are what I use to mark any particular points that I really feel like I need to talk about in the book. I don't always necessarily end up marking a lot. For example, Homegoing ended up with 7,000 million tags. The Hate You Give hasn't ended up with anywhere near as many, and Emma hasn't actually got any at the moment because I had to read it really fast to catch up to Lauren for our buddy read, and so I wasn't actually reading it as slowly as I normally would and taking notes like I normally would. I was like, I gotta get up to chapter 12 now! But normally I'll use these tags to make notes, and I'll also use a pencil to underline anything or write little notes in the margins, because I'm the kind of person who likes to write notes in my books. Not a lot of notes, just notes if I feel like I need to. It's particularly fun because then if I ever reread the book, I can look at those notes again. For example, when I was reading A Court of Mist and Fury last week, I made the most hilarious notes. I read it, and then I read A Court of Wings and Ruin, and then I immediately reread A Court of Mist and Fury. I read all of them in a week, by the way. And so then I was rereading it and looking at all the notes that I made, and they were making me laugh more than the book was. So it's kind of fun being able to write my notes in the book, because then when I'm reading it again, I can be like, oh, past Jazz, what were you thinking? So the other thing that's in this little bag is these particularly fancy sticky notes that are like my absolute favorite, and I'll use these on editions of books that I think are really pretty, that I want to use prettier notes on, basically. I don't use these on everyone because they're quite expensive and I can't afford to, especially if I'm making as many notes as I did in Homegoing. But on something like Emma, I would probably use these notes because they're a bit prettier and I don't like the neon ones. And that is my final reading essential. I don't tend to eat while I'm reading, mainly because I never have any snacks in the house. If there were snacks, I'd probably eat them, but there aren't, so. And now that I've got myself all set up, I think I might actually do some reading. So I will see you again in some other video very shortly, I am sure. And until then, as always, stay classic. Because I don't know why, actually. It just hasn't. Oh. It's so cold.